Yeah, hi, this is Bernie. We're just wrapping up part 4 of this series on God's grace and the law in the marketplace in terms of customer service, and the grace being kindness on one side of the equation, and then the law being your system or protocol on the other, and the two mesh together being the overall strategy and what you put forth in your way, in your system, and your approach, and how you treat and get along well with people and so forth, I suppose, in doing the customer service transaction and function. So what I want to tell you today in closing is I am a customer service trainer, and I approach the marketplace in my day-to-day life as well and do business. And when I'm teaching online or in the classroom or the boardroom, um, when I meet you in public in a day-to-day, everyday life Bernie May situation, buying a product or service off of you in your business, I just expect to be treated like anybody else in terms of treated well. I don't expect to be taught or teach to or talked to, spoken down to. I don't expect to be have a one-upmanship put on me, or here comes that customer service trainer, tisk tisk, let's play one on them, see if we can get a scenario going and broiling here where we do something dumb, and then he can you know reprimand us or teach us, I suppose. Then we can cause a big stink about it or whatever to our superiors, and then not get him hired, get him fired, I suppose, from his contract he already has. um, you know I'm saying this not in an assumption that this might happen, okay? I've walked through the fire in my pursuit of customer service, the cup, winning the Stanley Cup of customer service training and teaching, as I've done double, I suppose, in my life, because I have. So, and don't think ever once that I haven't been mocked and shamed and put in all kinds of weird scenarios as I've went on this trial and test of becoming the leader I am in this industry, I suppose. So just know that I have the. You remember my story about Dave Schultz on my timeline. My hero as a child in hockey. We played in the minor hockey realm of West Central Saskatchewan, more on the eastern half of that little corner or pie-shaped piece of the big Saskatchewan province. The Highway 14 Wild Duck, Wild Goose League, I suppose, went from Macklin all the way down to Wilkie Landis, bigger over to Asquith, turned the corner, turnpike down to Rosetown. That's where Dave Schultz grew up and played hockey. I was in Landis, just around the corner from Bigger. The league stretched out to Outlook and some tournaments, and then over to Kindersley, Alsace Country. Crobert being the tough guys, Bigger being the bigger, strong guys, and Landis being the wee mighty heroes that always played well and did things right with what they had. And we didn't have much. Often we just had two lines. But Dave was, I suppose, my hero, and I wrote his mother to get essay information in grade 6 when I was 12 years old to write an essay on him. So I understood who this guy was. The most penalized player in the league in the era when Bobby Clark was the captain for the Broad Street Bullies. Dave the Brawler, Dave Schultz, 472 penalty minutes, world record, most in 1 year in professional NHL hockey. And if you don't think that is equivocal to anything, let me tell you this. This is my approach, okay? Because I'm telling you and I'm warning you about how you treat me, because I've been treated wrongly in lots of situations, okay? So understand this. I don't care if you're Dave, the guy at Canadian Tire running the clerk desk, or you're a waiter or a waitress. I just want to be apportioned rightly like everybody, not mocked or shamed or put down in public, because I do this wonderful teaching. And sometimes some of you have your nose out of joint because you feel offended at me or others, I suppose, that you're doing it wrong and you don't want to be shamed anymore, so you can't stand the teaching. Well, that's not the point. You should attribute this to justice and learn well from it and get your nose out of joint and get unoffended and forgive people, me especially, for this, attributing this good information to you. But when I'm in on the customer clerk transaction, I just want to be handled well like anybody. So Dave, there was lots of heroes in hockey, and you Google it. The top heroes of hockey who never won a Stanley Cup. Clean, aggressive, assertive, good playing players, hard hitting, guys like Marcel Dion with the LA Kings years ago, our own Jerome Aginla that played with the Calgary Flames, top scorers but in the league, but never won a cup, I suppose. Dave Schultz, 472 penalty minutes, 2 Stanley Cups in that era. So I'll tell you this, if you assert me in any way that's wrong, how I consider justice, I'm afforded to by being a teacher, but that's just my job. Just like your job as a clerk or a waiter or a waitress, I'm a trainer. That's just my job. It's all it is. When I'm doing a customer transaction with you, it's about that and that only. And if you put me down in any way to mock me or shame me because it's your big funny, you'll pay. You will pay. Your company might not pay. They may fail. I don't know. We'll see. But you will personally pay as you step forth towards me and fall into the deep abyss between us. It's going to hurt you because the Dave Schultz style in me will come out, and I mean it. So this is for you. It's a bit of a warning, not in a shameful way, but just to put you out there in an aggressive front with me so you can do your due diligence the right way, not the wrong way, and stand there like a man or a woman, not squat down and duck out of this whole thing. This is one of the most honorable things in life, to do a good service transaction, one person between another, and do it well. And, that's all I'm going to say about that. Our company right now, moving in this direction forward, to get on to the next phase of this closing point, we have divested all the interests we've been focused on for the last year or more into 14 different operations. A group of company now, Connections Consulting is, and it's the group of companies. And the 14 in order are various things. The training and consulting business is right at the top of the list. That's our main arm where we do our business training and project work. It's an assertion. It's the granddaddy of the company, so to speak, carrying the rest of the load, a portion to it. And we have recently done this and structured and are in order and been working on corporate financing for the last 2 years, very hard with private lending firms and so forth. We've come to the conclusion with one here, and we're working through the final steps in this next quarter. So there'll be things happening this week and in the next month or so, I suppose, that will be accorded to justice, getting us into place that for this coming fall to be hiring people for each one of these 14 groups. And then each one of those are companies on their own, I suppose, that'll have a focus and afforded justice of their own and doing the goodwill and getting out there and making things happen in this customer service training element that'll have a different fold and elect in each part of it. And I'll just tell you quickly what they are. The first one is the corporate training and projects of CCI. Then secondly, and very important as well, we have the Good Samaritan Life Pro humanitarian nonprofit side that does the daily life principles and the teaching for body, mind, spirit leadership with daily personal self. We have our BMAC land development company that'll be growing and focusing on rental and land equity options and development there. We have the Connections Mountain Adventures company, which is our backpacking and lending ourselves to that right now. Obviously, my time is afforded in many directions right now, and one person cannot do it all unequivocally till the end of time. You need to start to divest and grow in all the directions. So that's what we're doing, the canoe trip. We've got our Thrive Youth arm, focused on young people and troubled youth, education and learning, giving them the life skills they need, affording them the opportunities that people like myself had in our own upbringing in a good world, not always so. but you can take your good into it, right? So that's what we're doing there. We've got our International Soil Conservation Society, and that's our 6th out of this list so far, and that's attributing the justice of good food will, the teaching and education of the whole land and soil side into the consumer markets, so attributing the connecting points between consumerism in urban and commercial areas with the land and development and growing of crops and food, so those two, the source can meet the end use, and both can understand each other unequivocally properly. So that, we've got our elevator prayer group praying for various causes and initiatives around the world. That's number 7, and that's often it's agriculture based because the food system is so important, but it's not only to that. We've prayed that it would rain so that fires go out, all kinds of stuff, just good society stuff where there's challenges. We're in it with our arm, and we sometimes put a cause out in media to have others join in, and we will lead groups. If societies, groups, or churches of people, whoever want a humanitarian want to run prayer course meetings, we will help lead and run those initiatives as well. Then we have our health company, number 8. That involves some products for health, as well as our extra care dating services, what was the other thing on there? Oh, the marijuana health program. So that's a threefold focus there, and that's the concubine issue of the dating services there. And then we have the data equity performance strategies company. That's our measurement group, measuring and tracking everything we do. And we go out and do a due diligence or a consulting contract with a company that hires us. Then we can go in after the training and consult and dissect them and do business process improvement initiatives and measure and track things for them so they know they're performing well. So that's the 9th group or company. Then we have 3 publishing companies. One is the Compass, and you've been reading a bit about that, our Compass Publishing Journal on our weekly blogs, but it's going to transform in time into a journal that you can get in the mail, like a good magazine, keep by your desk, like a good thick magazine, something like this, that is good quality, and refer to it as a sort of an instruction manual for the 2-month period. Keep it on your desk or on your bookshelf and refer back to it even 2 years later. It'll be focused on daily life leadership principles and for your own betterment. So and then we have the CCI Project Sales blog, and that's been sort of intermeshed with the Compass, but that's going to continue to transform into an electronic weekly blog that'll continue to be focused on building business, and that'll be an organization all of its own. The 3rd publishing equity is going to be another magazine fold, sort of a thinner, lighter, loose leaf magazine, a few pages, like anywhere from 10 to 20 pages, and it'll be a subscription-oriented thing, and it's called Hockey Street Faith Publications, because I believe in my upbringing, the important balance that we learned between team sport in our group and getting along, the equity of the challenge of hockey and the sort of toughness side of it, and you need that equity in your spirit combined with the faith side in the journey of life. So that'll be a stream all of its own that will hit an audience that's welcoming that kind of aperture and faith and believing you got to grind it out in day-to-day style to get things done in your life 7 days a week. Faith is not a word just for Sunday in my cause. Number 13, and these are 2 ministry organizations. We have an AposToLic covering organization focused on single people. We run the Canadian Singles Association here at CCI, Connections Consulting. So we'll further define some of these things, but we'll go around and we'll offer teaching and training, equity, groups of things that we do with singles organizations in Canada and North America. Often they're based out of churches usually, but not always. There are singles communities that run equity-wise in communities like cities like Saskatoon. I joined one that's it's just a social group in the city. It's not part of a any church or anything. We'll offer teaching and training for the betterment of single people's lives. There are probably 60% of all Canadians and North Americans, I suggest, would be single people, divorced, never married, or widowed. And just there's a degree of life, people don't want to suffer from loneliness. You want to do things a certain way, get with groups of others, learn and grow. So we're about that. And the second, that we may help people start up groups as well and offer advice on that and on a contracting notice. So we'll be doing that, meeting with single ministers and leaders and people in communities as we delve out into that over the coming months and year or two, I suppose. Then we have our last but not least, our Stop Bully Net Pro organization. That's our degree arm, an AposToLLos ministry as well, giving similar covering to the bully groups that are preventing bullying. And they're often bike gang leaders that were former, sometimes tough bad guys that converted to become good guys. And they want to help out by giving back in a cause where they were often even bullied younger in life. So they're warding off bullies in some of their cause. It's often associated with biker rallies and things. There's corporate packages, reporting and monitoring systems. And so we're going to give some coverage to that and lead into it with them and, make sure and hope continually they're doing well and doing right and not falling into bullying themselves and go forth in that. So we'll be doing that. Those are our 14 groups. We're leading off into that over the course of the summer and fall as we conclude our financing package, and we hope to hear more on that in the next week and month as we go forward in this. So stay tuned with us. And I just want to say to any of my friends, Ron, and any of the farm community out here, if you guys need any help this spring, like I know with COVID, there's been challenges. Some big farms around here bring in Australian workers because we're in the opposite growing season, and it's an exchange program with travel limited and whatever. I currently am not working on a project where I'm hands-on project management at the moment over these next couple months, I suppose. So if anybody needs any help on the farm, Ron Warwick, or out at the Kleiber Ranch there, Grant, just give me a call. I would be glad to come and run a piece of machinery and be part of your operation for 1, 2, 3 months, get the crop in this spring right out into haying and fungicide season or whatever, and spraying, crop spray and all that. And I welcome that because I can be still advancing the causes of my company and doing some work for somebody. So definitely give me a call. Bernie May here, Connections Consulting. Glad to be part of the Strathmore community ongoing and continuing here in this rural farming area of agriculture, which I love and bless so much in all my cause. So go from there. Bernie May Connections Consulting, 1-403-519-3495, wconnectcons.ca, and my humanitarian side. And we've added Matthew Barnett with the LA Dream Center to our cause page as well. So we'll be looking at ways to purport and support him in the future, where he's acquired the City of Angels Hospital, abandoned years ago, to make a dream center helping out street people and feeding the poor and all that. And we'll be looking at ways to further that with him as we advance in our causes. My kids live down in that LA area, so I'm blessed with that knowledge. I've met Matthew personally a couple times in life as I served up in a church for part of my career as a volunteer, and he was a speaker, and I met through that initiative. And as his dad is growing older, who knows, his dad used to fundraise by running a 400K marathon from Phoenix to LA, from the church he was part of and leading to Matthew's cause in LA. And maybe I'll pick something up like that in my life on a Harley bike or my own hiking cause or something. But we'll be melding together and supporting Matthew in that continued dream and journey that he started many years ago. It's probably 22 years old by now that he's been running that cause. So thanks and have a good day, folks. That's aboutme.connectcons.ca. Go and be blessed well, everyone. And do the best you can today. in spite of all this COVID, we're getting through it, I think, and there's a lot of optimism, it seems, and it seems like something broke this week in everybody's demeanor and spirit in the community here in Strathmore. There seems to be an uplifting, optimistic spirit, and people are expecting restaurants to be open again at half capacity to a maximum of 50 guests, starting on May 14th, I guess, and there just seems to be a little zim and vigor around the community, so I'm glad to hear and see that as we go out today, and that's great. Okay, have a good day.